Why don't you give me a sign? Like the sea that leaves a trail along that shore. It's not your problem, it's mine. Everybody thinks that I'm okay. Sometimes I think I am too. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm waiting for the shockwaves to begin. Oh, won't you let me hold you for one time? Just a rainy day in a London cafe, a London cafe. So give me one last serenade. Say to me or swear at me till the night turns into day. And it was a shame when daylight faded, because we didn't notice at all. Hi, I'm Corinna from the Fan Carpet, and welcome to the Fan Carpet Arena. I am now joined by Gill from the Hot Dam. Thank you so much for speaking to me this afternoon. I know we've had a few technical difficulties, so hopefully you're not too irritated with this yet. But how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Yeah, just doing all right, yeah.
Well, you've got this amazingly cool new single out, which is full of joy, which I think everybody needs right now after all these years of incessant lockdowns and horrible things going on in the world. It really seems like the right time to bring some colour back in, right?
Yeah, I guess that was our whole manifesto, really, was, I mean, we started this band during lockdown, and it was kind of just a cheer ourselves up sort of vibe that we were going for, because it was just, and it just kind of multiplied from there. So we found ourselves writing, really punk pop, colourful, bright, happy tunes, I guess. Yeah, just to spread a bit of joy. And there's so much doom and gloom, especially with what we've all been through. It just seemed like a knock-on effect from that. Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting that you say that you started this during lockdown. Now, I can imagine that must have been quite difficult in some ways, because you must have had the challenges of being in the same room at the same time, or bubbling up and all this sort of stuff. I guess it was quite difficult to get a band going, especially at a time when you couldn't go out and play live. So how did you keep that motivation going? Was it really just channeling something quite happy into what you were creating?
I guess so. I mean, it was a challenge because we also lived, 300 miles away from each other.
Oh.
So I was up in Scotland, the girls were down in London. So, I mean, most stuff was on Zoom anyway. It was sort of trying to write it, which was difficult because you'd think it would be quite easy because you're sort of just talking one-on-one, how about this, but it kind of got to a point where there's only so much you can do, in a room together, planning things. The whole point of musicians is going out and playing, music, and it was quite difficult. Eventually, when we did get together, we were able to we had to do pre-recorded gigs because people couldn't go out and gig yet. It wasn't a thing. So our first few gigs were, pre-recorded in a recording studio, sort of over Christmas and things. And that was sort of the first time we were kind of allowed to get together. It was difficult, but I guess you just got to power on through. And it was definitely the sort of colourful light side of things that sort of kept us going. And we just want to focus on the positives. So that's what we did.
And I completely understand. I mean, I'm a musician myself, and I found in the lockdown it was very hard to create the excitement online the whole time. There's this thing where on one hand you can do streaming, you can do virtual writing sessions, you can do all this stuff, but it actually really just doesn't beat the energy that you get when you're with people in the same room, whether that's actually making music with musicians, because there's an energy there that you can't really recreate virtually, or even just being in a room of a real audience in front of you, as opposed to you know, the whole streaming factor where, you know, to actually hear an applause rather than see an emoji of applauses is a very different sort of thing. But it's really interesting. I saw in your press release that you, with your single live, love, laugh. Well, I'm getting it in the wrong order, aren't I now? You were inspired by late 2000s homeware inspirational decoration, which I thought was just really amusing, because I know exactly what you mean, and it still exists. People still buy that, but it's funny because it's kind of cute and kind of tacky at the same time, isn't it? Those sort of things.
Yeah, that was the idea. I think it was just taking something really kitsch and, you know, in some ways horrendous, but in some ways, you know, we wanted to put a positive spin on things. So it was kind of like, let's just adopt it. I mean, I know a lot of people think it's sort of a, you know, a cringy kind of distasteful, you know, monumentous thing. But I think trying to take something like that and just put a bit of humour into it, you know, because I don't know, just to get a bit of attention and it's our kind of positive spin on it.
I think it's a great idea, and I think that the timing of you guys coming out on the scene couldn't be more perfect, because I think we're seeing a resurgence in rock music and pop rock music. There's a real calling back to people playing instruments again rather than it being programmed all the time. We're having a lot of female artists coming through, kind of taking the baton from the Avril Lavigne's of the yesteryear and this sort of stuff, and we're getting this kind of excitement again for that kind of slightly rebellious and fun pop rock vibes of the 2000s. And it seems like you guys are filling that space in quite nicely and doing it in a British way, because there's so many Americans doing it that actually there is a gap now for an all-girl band to come in and do this in a fun British way, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, there was never any sort of premeditation about this, how we were going to sound, or it all just really happened quite naturally. And I think, you know, the COVID and the miserableness had something to do with that, which naturally sort of spawned into positivity. But I think we're in that sort of space now that no one really knows what to do with us. It's kind of, we're not, you know, we have been on the classic rock stations and the Kerrang stations that, something like this is quite, it's good that it's out there and it's, you know, refreshing and something new. But I guess there are still barriers of people think, oh, it's a bit too pop, it's a bit too this, but we're trying to sort of do an all-encompassing attitude, you know, just something that's happy beyond the barriers of just putting you into a box of pop, rock, this, that. It's kind of, we want to sort of cross over and just have fun. We're too old and to consider ourselves cool. We're too
old at all.
We just want to have a good time. We just want to dress up in brightly coloured clothing and get on stage and, you know, make people smile, I guess. Just, we're having so much fun. So we hope that translates into something else. We'd love to think that we were quite niche in Britain, which you said there's sort of nothing really out there at the moment. I think that was the main draw for keeping it positive. You see all these pictures of people with like leather jackets and they're all just so cool, and you're just like, I'm so bored of that. You know, it's just been done to death. So we just thought something new, breath of fresh air, you know, fuck it. Let's just do this. Let's just balls to the wall, all out, neon, power pop. I don't know. I think it's great. We haven't even figured it out yet. We're just going for something. We're just going for it. Yeah.
But I think that you're talking about finding your niche and finding your place. Well, that is your niche then, because I think people, especially in the last decade, got really hung up on genres and what are you, and I know this myself from my own experiences. You know, people are like, what are you, what exactly are you? They're trying to pigeonhole you, and are you like this artist, and well, you've written a song like this but it's not the same as this song that you've written, and actually it's very restrictive when it seems like we are moving into an era now where we're accepting that you can be a combination of different genres. You can fuse things together. You don't have to stick to whatever's current and modern, because what even is current and modern anymore? Because we just got this, you know, access to all these musics from different decades. And I can see with what you guys are doing, there's clearly some influences from the 80s there. There's that glam rock thing, but you've also got the sassiness of, I think you know, you mentioned Kim Wilde in your press release, and I can see that. And that the 80s was full of color and excitement, but there has been a lot of this seriousness coming through in recent times as well, music. And so I suppose you're bringing back some of the components of an era where people didn't care about what they were. They just did stuff, right?
Yeah, I guess that's right. It's kind of, we eclectically, as a four-piece, we all have very different tastes and styles in terms of what we want to bring to the music. So there's definitely a lot of 80s. I mean, being a musician before this band, we were very very heavy rock, even sometimes metal, or classed as metal. And my bass player Lizzie, she's really into metal. You know, Laurie's really into her sort of instrumental progressiveness, as well as like Cyndi Lauper. Josie's into, you know, Blink-182 and the 1975. So there's so much kind of going on. It's nice to know that we can sort of bring everything together and have sort of flavors of the music, you know, that we've grew up on, or that we love, that we can actually just marry together kind of successfully, just enough so that, you know, there is bits of the past, there is bits of the, you know, the future, the present as well. It just kind of fits together, and we try and sort of keep it, you know, non-political. You know, we don't want to, not that we don't want to ruffle any feathers. I think that it's just, you know, there's too much seriousness going out there. If we felt strongly as a collective group about something, I'm sure we would do some sort of song, or something related to our strong views. But at the moment, it's just light, and yeah, we just like to keep it fun. Yeah,
I think it's a really good ethos to have, because there are a lot of artists out there and bands who right now think they have to speak out about things, whatever subject that might be. And there is a time and place for that, but sometimes it can just get a bit heavy, you know. Sometimes listening to music shouldn't be about, you know, what agenda you're bringing to the table. It should just be about enjoyment and feeling a breadth of emotions that all humans can share, not, you know, whatever beliefs you have or anything like that. And actually, it's really interesting you hearing you say that, because it's almost like we've gone to one spectrum where people are using music all the time to speak out about stuff, but actually maybe we've lost touch with just the pure enjoyment of music, you know, without a message, but just pure enjoyment and having fun. And the other thing, I mean, like, speaking of fun, you know, looking at your video, you guys had a lot of fun, but you can also see what gifted, talented musicians you are. You know, you're playing, guitar playing, and I hate to say this because I don't think it should be like this. Like, you know, seeing a group of women who are really showing off their musicianship all together collectively, all girls with, you know, amazing skills. You know, that shouldn't be something that in 2022 we're like highlighting, going, oh, you know, women, we're playing instruments. But it's really cool that you're doing that though, and showing that girls can rock out just as well as any other guy band from the past. But in terms of your musicianship, I mean, how long have you all been playing for? I mean, it looks like this has probably been a lifelong skill that you've been working on.
Yeah, we've well, I've been playing for not decades. I'm not that old, but I started my first band, the Amorettes. We were going for 10 years, and yeah, it's been, I guess you could teach yourself in high school, just like the basics, and same with the other girls. I mean, we've all just sort of picked it up as teenagers, really, and it's just sort of stuck with it. We collectively, I think when we started this band, we wanted it to be about, about technical skills and musicianship, rather than just, a voyeuristic novelty that we're all girls. I mean, the world's moved on. It's not
exactly,
it's not a big deal anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's not. But there's still something special about it. We did intentionally start as a female band because I've only ever been in female bands. My drummer Josie has. It's not. It was more of a choice that, as you see, there is a gap in the market, and we did sort of pick up Laurie and Lizzie along the way because we knew how great players they were, and it was all just about kind of. I guess there is a sort of a thing about standing out, and I think being an all-female, it's quite a strong statement in some ways. It still has that, not as a look at us, we're girls, but more as a oh my god, they can all play sort of thing. But we try to sort of forget about that because we're not ramming it in people's faces. We didn't do this because we're we're musicians first and foremost, and it's normalizing. It's society's calming down. It's not weird anymore, which is great, and it should always be like that. But yeah, we yeah. Sorry.
No, I think that's a really good. That's a really good point to be making. I mean, I play the piano, and it's something that I do. But again, people always like to highlight, it's a woman playing instruments, it's a woman, and it's not it's a woman playing instruments. But there's always that thing about the female in this, and actually, we shouldn't be talking about that anymore. We should just be going, great musicians, end of story. But actually, I suppose when you trace back in time and you think about, okay, we talked about the 80s. You had the Bangles, were one of those all-female kind of pop rock bands coming together. And actually at the time, there weren't that many of them around. There are so many big glam rock bands like Kiss, or you had Bon Jovi or Guns N' Roses, that was kind of a rarity. But I think even still today, you see a lot of bands where there might be a lead female singer, or there might be maybe one other female instrumentalist, but it's usually boys and girls kind of together, or there's predominantly guys and there's one girl. So actually, even though it should be something that we're drawing attention to, it's still just really nice to see, isn't it? It's just nice to see that is something. And then, you guys are friends as well as musicians. But, I mean, you said you live like 300 miles away from one another. How did you even meet? How did that happen?
Well, we aren't now. I moved down to London.
So, unfortunately, those Zoom gremlins came in there at the end, which disturbed our interview, but I think you can agree we got quite a good chat in there nonetheless. So, if you're a fan of good female-fronted pop rock, then why not check out the Hot Damn's brand new single, Live, Laugh, Love. Join us next time when we will be bringing you some more exclusives here at the Fan Carpet Arena. And remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm here on the largest of the Balearic Islands, Mallorca, with the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, beautiful mountainous landscape, the thriving city of Palma, quaint little market towns, a growing number of luxury hotels. It's no surprise that the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor like to holiday here. So come and join me as I take you round Mallorca.
Thank you for watching the Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.